wants to know how you guys navigate a retraction like this. Why don't we start with Josh this time?
Let's start this.
Okay, Jason.
I don't think there's an answer to navigating high interest rates. It just sucks for the market. You know, things have slowed down, and I think, and I've been telling my agents I remember in 2023, I said, guys, 2024 is going to be the year. Interest rates are going to fall, things are going to pick up. I mean, I said that the last team meeting of 2024. I did not say it like at the last team meeting because I'm like, okay, I've said this way too many times. I don't know anymore when interest rates are going down. I mean, maybe at the end of this year, maybe 2026. I think it's just been a new landscape. I mean, we've got the mansion tax and we've got high interest rates, and I don't know if we're going to see the volume that we're used to for years, honestly. And I don't think there's any secret to navigating that.
But I think the flip too is you've got, when interest rates were at 2%, it was complete chaos out there. Things were going in multiple offers. You were paying 20% more for a property that, today you'd be getting at value. So the flip side of that equation, when everybody was like, I'm not writing an offer, there's 15 offers on the table, it's going to go 20% over. And I'm like, yeah, but you got a 2% interest rate. Mm-hmm. So, and now we're having the opposite conversation. I should have bought when I had a 2% interest rate, and the people that had 2% interest rates now don't want to sell because now they have to flip into, close to a 6% interest rate, whatever that looks like for them. So I think it's the same dialogue that you have to flip the table and say, now we're in this market, what does that look like? And can you refinance when interest rates do come down, get the value where it is today, which is 20% less than what you were paying in 2021 and 2022.
I think interest rates are amazing because I've been in the business a long time. And I remember when they were 18%. And I think we've just adjusted to normal. So if you tell your clients that, they're going to think that. They believe you. So you just have to tell your clients what you want them to know. And I remember when interest rates were 16 and 18%. So yes, they've adjusted. Buy now, refinance later.
Yeah, and there's also lots of creative ways where instead of you negotiating $50,000 off the purchase price, you can just tell them to give that to the bank and buy down the rate. That's what I did when I bought last year. Actually, my lender's in the room.
And they do.
Yeah, they did. I that's what I did, and I got 5.5 in February of 2024 by having the seller buy my rate down, and I'm locked in for 7 years, and then probably move or refi by the time that matures. So big news yesterday with the changes made with clear cooperation. We all know how Jason feels, so we're going to talk to him about it. But I specifically to our Beverly Hills Flats natives, that's you and Jade, I'm curious, how do you guys feel about pockets? Should clear cooperation exist or not? You want to start?
Pockets. I mean, it depends if I'm on the buying or selling end of the deal. My answer is going to change. I mean, do you want the real answer? A seller is always going to have their best chance if they put it on the open market. I mean, let's just be real. I mean, there are certain instances where a house does sell as a pocket listing for an overinflated number. I remember a house I sold on the 900 block of Alpine once, which just retraded for $45 million. But when I had sold it, it was a teardown, and I brought them $20 million, and they interviewed every agent on earth, and everyone said it was worth 16 at most. And I just happened to find somebody that was willing to pay a ridiculous number. And I said to these people, I said, take it and run. Don't walk, run. That happens very irregularly. The biggest, what I say to people all the time is, put it on the open market because you don't know. There's going to be that one person out there that you don't know, and that
says the guy who has 15 pockets currently.
Depends who you're talking to. It's like what I said. So, in this intimate setting, I'm just being honest with you. I would say that you have to put it on the open market.
Sold a lot of pockets.
I've sold a lot of pockets, and I think a lot of times the seller doesn't want their friends, their neighbors to know that they're listing or selling their house. A lot of celebrities don't want anybody to know. So you have to take that into consideration. But if you do that and you work with them, eventually I think they will list it. Because, as Josh said, I believe that if you put it on the open market, you are going to get a higher price. And what about that person coming from Arcadia or Orange County that don't even know about your house? And those might be the people that pay the most money. So I mean, I think it's wonderful to keep it off the market, but I also think it's really difficult to do if your client says, okay, now I want to sell it. Okay, now it's time for your friends and family and everybody to know and put it on the market.
Go ahead, Tracy.
I have like a very specific opinion about this, and really and truly, our responsibility and our fiduciary duty is to the clients that we represent. So if our client does not want to put their house on the market because they're private, have security issues, don't want their neighbors knowing, whatever reason that may be, it really is our responsibility to honor their wishes. That being said, I agree it's also an opportunity, particularly when you're in a relationship with a long-term client. They want to test the market on a price that you don't necessarily believe in. A great way to do that is in the privatized market. So you can test it, utilize your network, the people that you know, pick up the phone, start doing deals, and if you can't get the deal done, then you can have that sit down with your client and say, look, it's not trading, it needs to be 20% lower, and now we should go on the open market because we've exposed it to everyone we possibly could privately. But the most important thing here, I think, is our responsibility to our client first, not to a brokerage, not to other agents, but to our clients. Right.
Yeah, totally agree with you. Personally, I've always just taken the hard line, like, why is our trade organization telling sellers what they can do with their property? It makes literally no sense to me until I heard the counter argument from this guy.
Well, we don't have the time for me to go off.
Well,
on
give us
pocket
the abridged
listings.
version this time.
Well, I'm adamantly against pocket listings. I do agree with Jade and Tracy that for 1% of sellers, and I'd say arguably 1%, a pocket listing might make sense. They don't want their neighbors to know, or they're a big celebrity, although, J-Lo and Ben have their house on the market, so can other celebrities. But putting aside that 1%, I do think that, I believe in transparency. I think that all property should be on the open market. Now, I think there should be an option for placing your property on the MLS, which, by the way, this just came down yesterday from NAR, and I think they hit the nail on the head with this one. It's essentially a coming soon. You can put the property on the MLS so that all licensed real estate agents who have access can look at these properties, but it doesn't go on the IDX feed, it doesn't go on Zillow, it doesn't go anywhere else. The problem I have is the self-serving large brokerages who make the argument that it's in the buyer and seller's interest to have a horde of listings on a particular brokerage's website so that they can try to double end. That is so inconsistent with, one, transparency.
Sounds
days
like
on
Compass.
market.
Just say
Well,
it, Jason.
I'm just going to say large
Watch your
brokerage.
mouth.
Okay, sorry.
So, and by the way, if I owned Compass, I would also want private exclusives. But I'd say, listen, I'd be honest about it. This is what's in the best interest of my shareholders. This is not what's in the best interest of buyers and sellers. It's not in the best interest of transparency. It's not in the best interest of sellers maximizing their return. So I'm adamantly against pocket listings. If everybody wants a pocket listing, by the way, I have a house on Rising Glen that's worth $8.5 million. If you can bring me a $10 million offer, do it. Now, everyone in this room has some shitty pocket listing. I'm tired of agents calling me with their shitty pocket listings from their fake sellers and their overpriced. I'm so over it. Sorry,
Okay,
that's
it's
my-
making you angry. Let's move on to something a little lighter. Jesus, Jason. The pockets really get him like fired up, you guys. Pockets is big for Jason. Tracy, okay, so this is about the future real estate, right? So moving on kind of to the evolving role of real estate agents. Tracy, you have a practice, by the way, round of applause, in Los Angeles, Austin, and Dallas marketplaces, right? And international, I apologize. How are you able to manage all of those roles? Well, let me back up. I'll tee you up for 1 second. The notion that one agent can be their best head of IT, transaction coordinator, listing launcher, custom experience manager, rainmaker, digital marketing specialist, videographer, lead nurturer, showing agent, buying specialist, listing agent, negotiator is faulty at best. So for those agents, and for those that you oversee, how are you able to manage that all across different states?
It's not easy. I mean, I'm scheduled to every 20 minutes doing something different, but at the end of the day, you have to have a really good team in place. It's really important that as you're scaling your business, and anyone who's gone from being just an agent on their own to hiring their first assistant, to then saying, now it's time to bring on a marketing coordinator, to then saying, I need to expand the team, I need three buyers agents, to then saying, I want to try going to 10 and then into another state, and then next thing you know, you've got 150 agents around the country and you start your own brokerage. Sirrah.
Yeah.
But, you know, and more power to them, because it's an unbelievable feat to be able to do that. But for me, it's about finding great people, trusting the people that you work with, and handing off power, because we can't control everything. And believe me, I started as a control freak from the time I was a tot. So to let go of that power is a really difficult thing, but it's about finding great talent, hanging on to that talent, treating them well, and making sure that you're growing and scaling in a way that you can actually manage.
You actually like teed up my follow-up question, which is like most agents, if we get over the hump, if we make it, like we're so controlling over the brand and our process. How hard was it for you to delegate and learn how to relinquish?
I'm still controlling over the brand. But I have a really incredible CEO, Cody Kaufman. I have a really great
Cody's
marketing
great.
director. I have the right people around me, and I make sure that I spend time with all of them. I connect with all my agents. I fly to Dallas and Austin once a month. I do whatever I can to show up for them whenever I can, amidst all the other things that I'm doing. But I think, you know, it's about trusting and giving them the reins and giving them the creativity, and obviously they have to have the skill set to be able to understand your brand, what you want to build, and how far you want to take it. You have to have that plan ready to go before you bring on anyone else.
Yeah, delegation's like so scary in the beginning, and then like you can kind of like get drunk on delegation. You're like, you guys do everything. And then you have to like wrangle it back in, so it's like a tricky tightrope. Jade, Inman just reported that the top 10% of real estate agents control 50% of the listings. That means everyone else is fighting for the remaining half. Do you think a new agent can survive as a solo agent in the current marketplace, or do they have to join a team?
I think that it's really difficult to survive as a new agent. And I always say, I'm glad I'm not just coming in now, because it's really difficult. But I think you should pair up. I think you should have a mentor. I think you should talk to Tracy or Jason or Josh or Ben. I think it's really important that you have someone that you can take with you on a listing appointment, or that you can call and say, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm going, I need help. And take that person. And if 50% of something is better than zero. So spend your time and really study who you like, who you want to be with, who you want to take with you. And that person is going to help you get your first few listings. So why not do that? But I do think that today it's really difficult as a new agent. And yes, we get called all the time. I mean, because people know our names, we're referred all the time. So a new agent isn't. So just try to make it happen any way you can, but that's the best way I know.
Anyone else want to weigh in before we move on? You look like you wanted to.
I'll add to that just by saying that there's a woman dear to me, Joyce Ray, who brought you into the industry, I think, many decades ago, and brought me into the industry. And I partnered with her. And one of the best decisions I've ever made. I believe in partnering with a team leader, and Joyce kind of gave me the opportunity that I have now. So yeah, I couldn't agree more with what Jade said.
I agree too, because I think it's like one of those things where you come in as an agent, you're like, now what? Like, what do I just go around and look at houses and figure out how this whole thing works? And I tried to do it on my own, and 2 years in, I joined a team as well, and all of a sudden I had structure. I could figure out what I was supposed to wake up and be doing. I was time blocking, I was going to open houses, I was meeting agents, I was doing all those things that I think as a new agent, you just don't really know what else to do other than look at the MLS and figure out, you know, what open house you're going to on Tuesday.
But when Tracy and I went together to a listing appointment, we couldn't wait to talk. we were like, oh, and.
Because we like working together, and it
Love
makes it
it.
so much easier. Like,
Love it.
I wouldn't trade it for the world.
So climate change believer or denier, it's hard to argue the fact that our weather events have been getting more intense. I've lived in Los Angeles since 2001, and I got my license in 2011, but like it seems just like in the last few years, more than ever, I'm going on all these listing appointments and people are leaving Los Angeles. And historically, the longer you are in the business, as long as you don't burn a ton of bridges, you're gonna get more referrals. And I'd like to ask all of you about this sincerely. Are you worried with the amount of people that are leaving, that each person that leaves cuts off that potential referral source and that organic growth of your business practice? Resounding no.
No, we live in Los Angeles, not Idaho. I mean, this is like one of the greatest places on earth. Like, I mean, you've got Palm Beach, Miami, the Hamptons, Manhattan, and LA. I mean, yeah, there will be people that will leave for tax purposes and go to Vegas, God knows why, but why? I mean, this is one of the greatest places on earth, so no, I'm not worried.
One for not worried?
I mean, I just say capitalize on it. There are going to be people that are going to leave, right? They're going to leave California, they're going to leave New York, they're going to leave Vegas, wherever, Josh doesn't want to go. They might want to go. That being said, I think it's about still maintaining those relationships with the client that you're referring out to the new city that they're moving to, and then again with their broker who's then going to refer business back to you. There's different ways to skin the cat.
What?
I would say
Yeah.
they always come back. We found that in COVID. People left, but they always come back. Our weather is amazing. We're close to the snow. We're close to the ocean. We have everything here. They always come back. And as Tracy said, just make sure you get those referrals because they're going to go someplace and then they're going to come back. Just make sure you keep in touch.
Jason, you came on our podcast and you romantically and optimistically described getting to choose your farm in the beginning of your career. You said, wait, what? I get to choose where I sell? This is awesome. I think you'd agree that west of Crescent Heights into the Bird Streets is a neighborhood that's kind of marked with people selling sooner than, say, Brentwood, Hancock Park. In these other neighborhoods, people stay longer. I'm sorry, let me back up. So it has seemed in large sections of the Hollywood Hills, it's non-Angelinos. Do you feel like less out-of-towners have been buying on the Strip?
I think the Strip it's always been a transient area, which I like. One, I don't like people asking me about school districts. So I like the Hollywood Hills. I never get asked about school districts. And people buy a house and then 3 or 4 years later they want to move. It's not like Hancock Park where like 20 years later the kids have graduated and they finally call you. So it's a great area, although I will say post-COVID, it's been tough because the people that leave, a lot of them are in the Hollywood Hills and they took off. I think the worst, just to kind of circle back on what you said, Jade, what everyone really said is that I think the worst is over in terms of people leaving. I think at the end of the day, I will never not live in LA because I need sun, and I think a lot of people just agree with that. And I will deal with the homelessness and the crime and all the other bullshit because there's just nowhere better, honestly. And so I think people will also, Tracy, people that move to Austin, they're going to go through one of those summers and then go through one of those winters, and they're going to come back. Same with Miami. I mean, these places aren't paradise. Vegas isn't paradise. So I think a lot of people will come back. I'm cautiously optimistic on that, just like the Palisades. I think the Palisades, guys, is going to be one of the best areas on planet Earth to live in 5 years, and it's just going to take us a while to get there.
Do you think 5 years is the amount of time?
Yeah, I think 4 to 6 years. I mean, I think it's going to be really difficult to live there right now. Obviously, you really can't live there right now because they're still getting out of the contamination. But then you're going to have construction going on, and that's absolutely brutal. And I'd say 80% of that will be done in about 4 years, the other 20% in like the next 18 months after that. And then everyone in the world is going to want to live in the Palisades.
Last relocation question, Tracy, why are your LA clients choosing Texas?
Because Texas is a shit.
Okay.
I mean, listen, I wanted to just touch on that because obviously we're all California centric. Everyone here is, living in Los Angeles, and we all love Los Angeles. We're here for a reason. But the audience online is not necessarily from Los Angeles, and out of respect for like other beautiful places to live, yes, they may not have the California weather, but they also don't have the crime. They also don't have the homelessness issues. They also don't have some of the other bullshit that we have to deal with. So it's every place has its stuff. And right now, Los Angeles has been going through quite a ride, particularly in the last 4 years, and I think has become challenging for a lot of people who have grown up here, born and raised, native Angelino, have actually thought about it and said, I've almost had enough. But then, you come home and you see the palm trees and you're like, it's a beautiful, beautiful place to live.
It is.
But Texas is amazing. My son went to Baylor, so we would
mazel.
fly in to Houston, drive to Waco, Texas, and many weekends we went to Austin, and it's beautiful there. It's really a great city, and the people are very, very nice. We really love Texas.
For those of you guys that have written like giant cash offers, let's say in the flats, for example, we're going to give you this great offer, all cash, non-contingent. Are you now in this new world saying, whoa, 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 like we need an insurance contingency and a measurable amount of time? Are you guys doing that? Or do you feel like because Fair Plan isn't going to be enough, you're just kind of telling the clients, here's your risk, and do you want to take it?
I think we do need longer for people to find insurance, but we as agents need that person that we trust, the insurance broker that we trust. I understand that they all go to the same vendors, or whatever you want to call them, to find insurance, but there are some that have a little more clout. I now found someone that I think is really good, if anybody needs his name. But I think, yes, we need a little more time, but we are the professionals. We need to find these people to get our clients insurance.
Do you think that, because Jason, you mentioned COVID, right? A lot of people that were living in New York or other metropolitan cities that were a little bit more dense, they kind of fled to LA because they got some space. What I'm curious is what do you guys think the post-fire world, how does that manifest into what buyers are going to start asking us for?
That's a difficult question. I don't think we're going to be, I don't think it's going to change much. I think people will be a little bit more concerned about fire risk. I'm already seeing that. But I don't think it's going to change patterns. I will say something about human behavior, if I can be a sociologist for a second.
Proceed.
And that is that we forget quickly. And for better or for worse, we're going to forget these fires in a couple of years. And we're going to stop being so worried about fires, and we're going to move on to something else. So I don't think it's going to change long-term demand patterns for buyers.
You guys have feelings on this?
I have feelings about insurance companies.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I feel like there have been times I've walked through potential new listings and the builder's like knocking on the wall and they're like, this quality of construction is like the best in the world.
Fireproof.
Yeah, and it's incredible, right? And then I'm like, yo, the buyers have no understanding of the gradations of quality. They only care they don't care if the AC is new. They want to know like, does it work, right? So I don't understand how they're ever going to not only comprehend, but also care about the level of how retardant a house is.
Also,
from a
do you
buyer.
want the only house still standing in a neighborhood?
Well,
I
that's
don't.
going to be different. Yeah, I think those houses are going to struggle for a few years, right? People.
Yeah.
I've done the house, when you have a house, it looks like Mars and you have one house standing, those are the most unlucky people. You should have prayed that their house burned. I hate to say it.
Moving on to AI. No, you're right. You're right. It's just your delivery it's making us laugh because we like you. Are any of you guys using AI in your business? I'm sure everyone in this room would love to kind of peel back the curtain a bit for the way you guys operate. Are you guys using AI at all? Josh?
What is AI?
One for no.
Absolutely. I mean, it's something that is shifting and changing every single day, and I think it's important for every agent. I was talking about this morning on another panel to be focused on it, because as dramatically as it's going to shift in 12 months from now, in 12 months after that, so you just fall behind the 8 ball. And I think as real estate agents, the only thing that sets us apart from the millions of other agents out there is how far out on the forefront of the battleground are we, and what are we doing differently to get our clients' houses sold. And so, of course, I use AI. I haven't written a copy or an advertising. I haven't done any of that, since ChatGPT showed up. But beyond that, it's just about like making things more efficient for my team, myself, my CEO, et cetera, so that they can flush out the content that we need.
I agree. I think we just have to keep up, and if we don't keep up and fall behind, they're going to go with another agent. So I think we just need to know, and we need to be able to talk about it.
I don't think AI is it's going to come for a lot of jobs, but I don't think it's going to come for our jobs. And I also don't think it's going to make any material difference for a long time. I think, am I writing my own descriptions? No, not really. Am I editing my own photos anymore? No, AI is doing that. But aside from that, I don't think AI is making any material difference in the luxury real estate market. I don't think technology at all makes much of a difference in the luxury real estate market. I think people do. Now, do I think it will affect real estate? Yes, because I think it will affect it'll affect architects, it'll affect appraisers, it'll affect a lot of these tertiary jobs around real estate. And also, I think, maybe I'm hoping for myself, I live in a condo. I think in 5 to 10 years, and don't get me started on autonomous robots, but I'm going to for a second. I think that we're going to have security in our own homes from autonomous robots, autonomous drones, and we're going to be safe in our homes. And by the way, also fire protection. I don't think you're going to need to build a house with fire protection necessarily, because you're going to have drone technology, AI drone technology, that's going to suck up the water from your pool and put out your fire anyway. So I think we're going to be, I think the cost of insurance right now, in 5 or 10 years, is going to be 1/10 of what it is. And I think home security will change dramatically as well.
I think just to pick up on what you were saying, I agree with Jason. I don't think it's going to change real estate. I think what it does for us personally as agents, as we wake up every day and we have business to do, it just makes our job that much easier. With, there's so many different facets to what we have to do to get a deal from A to Z. I think the AI piece just makes our lives a lot easier unless we don't get on board.
I just want to point out that the last panel I came to with a state that Brandon Williams also said that robots were coming, and I'm now 2 for 2 on robots. Thanks to Jason. Okay, so we're gonna I think get close to Q&A. Just maybe a few more questions. As you guys know, social media has effectively become the new cold call. Most real estate agents are sadly only posting active, pending, and sold. And you know what? I'm victim of it too. I don't naturally post my personal life. I never have. And so this question is for Tracy. You post your travel. We see you working out a lot.
She does.
Yeah, and so can you share your thought process around curating your feed so it's so personal?
I just don't want to look at houses all day, every day. I just don't find it that exciting. I'm kidding. I love my job. I love looking at beautiful houses. But I think in order to connect with people, that's what social media is about. If you want to get leads, you got to learn how to connect. And you're not necessarily going to connect because you put a carousel of a pretty house for $28 million. You're going to connect because someone is going to come back to your page. They're going to follow your stories because whatever it is, whether they're into, for me, whether they're into fitness or travel or food or whatever you're into, be it equestrian, etc., if they connect with you on that level, then trust is built. And once trust is built, then dialogue happens and engagement happens. And when engagement happens, the connection happens. And then when they need to sell their house, they call you.
So there is a strategy to this.
100%.
It sounds like it. Yeah, and you know what? This question was actually also, I was grouping you into this because they say like your vibe attracts your tribe, and like you are publicly or not publicly, you're posting so much about your commitment to your religious community and also like the lavish parties you have at your house. So, like, what is your thinking behind sharing these unique aspects of your life, which, there's a lot of things you could be sharing.
Okay, what do you mean by I don't.
What informs your selection process of what makes it? Or you just kind of spray and pray?
You're talking about like who comes to my dinner parties?
No, I'm not asking for an invite, Josh. I'm not. I'm really not. I'll see you the next one. But I just mean like, why do you choose to post those things? Here, let me give you an assist. I think that in many ways, the things that you post are aspirational, not just for agents, but also the community. I think by throwing these dinner parties that no one does anymore because our heads are all glued to our phones and connecting with people, not only is it showing people what they could be a part of, it's also showing them kind of what they're not a part of, and also it's reminiscent of the stuff you love so much, which is like old Hollywood and vintage Los Angeles. So that's what I get from it, and I was just curious your take.
Well, I mean, I don't really, I just post what happens. It's not like I'm not trying to send a message. There's no hidden meaning behind it. I mean, we have a fabulous dinner party, and we just, take photos. I mean, and the religious community, I don't know, I'm Jewish. Like, what do you, like, there's nothing. No, I'm very proud. Like, my family's been here for 100 years. My great-grandfather was one of the founding members of the Jewish community in Los Angeles. I'm very proud of that. So, we talk about that kind of stuff, and we have great dinner parties. And yeah, I'm an old soul. I like old things. Everyone knows that about me. I don't know how I was born in the century, but I was, and, like Robert Evans was my hero.
Amazing. Yeah, I think the big takeaway here from both Josh and Tracy is they're fearlessly, almost uneven aware that there's no kind of inhibition. They're just unapologetically authentic, and I think we all should do that. We should probably move to Q&A. I think you guys wanted to do that. As I wait for you guys to come up and just fill the space while I wait for the Q&A person. We use AI also in a pretty interesting way. We have an AI plugin in our CRM. I'm just sharing this because I thought you guys may get some use from it. So every time we make a phone call to anyone, we call through the CRM, and then the CRM has AI listening to the call. It's not like where you have to be like, I'm recording you, but it is listening. And then what it does is it'll naturally assign tasks like, oh, you talked about getting a photographer or pulling a prelim. It'll summarize the call. It'll put appointments on the schedule for you. You can call it and tell it to change the lead status. So for us, uniquely, we use it operationally, and it's been like a game changer. So highly recommend that. I use Follow Up Boss. The plugin was created by Spencer Raskoff called House Whisperer, and the fact that you don't have to take notes on the call anymore, the notes are made, and like it'll text you or call you after a listing appointment and say like, how'd it go? Do you want more notes? Do you want me to make a task for you? I mean, it's so easy, and anyway, it streamlined a lot. So are we ready? Cool. Do we have are we just taking, we're opening it up?
Who's gonna be the
surprise,
ballsy
it's
first
your
one?
turn. Does anyone want to ask a question of our
Anybody
illustrious
want to talk
panel?
about their pocket listings? Let's talk about
Yeah, let's not make this like a post-caravan meeting if possible. Anyone have a question you want to ask the panelists? I've been asking.
There's one.
I thought it was Cody because he was getting up. I thought he was standing to ask.
I'm just here because no one else was asking anything, to be honest. But no, so you guys are all obviously extremely established agents and have done an incredible job, and we're all very impressed, and you guys are mentors to us, for me, Jason especially. But wondering how long it took you to really get to a point where you felt like you were comfortable as agents and felt like, this was your place and this is what you were going to be doing, and what that journey looked like.
I think year 3.5 to 4 for me. Quick answer.
I think that, I mean, still when I go on a listing appointment, I'm always thinking, is this the last one? Or is this the last escrow? So, I mean, I think it's just always something that you want to do your very best because you want it to feel like it's easy.
I'm with Jason. It was about 3 to 4 years that I was like, oh, I just made like my first 6 figures, and now I'm at 500 in GCI, and this is going to be my career. I wasn't sure until then.
I'm still waiting for that feeling. Josh?
Yeah, I think I kind of like Jade. I still don't feel like I've made it yet. I have the listing on the most expensive house in Los Angeles right now, and I'm like, well, it's not sold. It's not a big deal. Like, I just don't. I always feel like I'm one below everybody else.
Anyone else have a question they want to pose to the illustrious panel? Yes.
Sound like to help manage your expectations of your clients? Jade, I'll start with Jade.
Well, I think, a lot of people don't know what they want to do. They're talking about, well, I think I want to move back, but I want to see how much money my insurance company's going to give me. I think I want to move out of the state. I think I want to move to Newport. Maybe I just want to go to Beverly Hills. I think right now is the unknown. So I really feel, as Jason said, I think that eventually everyone is going to want to be there. It's going to be a brand new city. And a lot of people are saying it's going to be new and beautiful and clean, and everybody will want to be there. Right now, I just think people don't know.
As all of you or most of you are team leaders of pretty substantial teams, I think it would be really interesting to hear what you guys look for in new agents, or possibly bringing someone on to your team, what qualities really stand out.
I don't bring people on my team just because no, seriously, I found over the years, and I'm probably wrong, I probably could have a really huge team. I just am not like a team player in that sense. No, I'm being dead serious with you. I'm being brutally honest with you. Why would I want to share my commissions? Why would I want to train somebody? Why would I want to sit there and hold their hands? I would do it with 1 or 2 very special people that I think are stars, but I don't have any aspiration to be Aaron Kerman. I don't have any aspiration for that.
Jason?
I mean,
Tall,
well,
model,
Beautiful.
hot. We
I didn't
know,
know where you were
Jade. Should
going
we
with that.
move to Jade? Jason, we got it.
But I agree with, I think, half of what Josh said, and then not the other half. I also have no ambition of being like a Ryan Serhant or who else is, what did you just mention? Aaron, yeah. I mean, I'm a quantity, I'm not a quantity guy, I'm like quality over quantity. Same with listings. I don't like a lot of listings. I turn down so many overpriced listings, even barely overpriced listings. I'd prefer less is more. That's why, I had a lot of push, I guess, an opportunity to kind of expand the brokerage into different cities. And I said, I'm a FaceTime guy. I want to be able to drive to Newport Beach or drive to San Diego. That's why I don't have an office anywhere else, because I can't get there. I get a lot of inquiries for agents. I mean, thousands of inquiries. And I've added 50 people in the last 5 years. So, I mean, I just am pretty careful about it. You have one asshole, and it ruins the whole vibe. I mean, and I get irritated easily, too. I do not like being around people unless I like them.
Should make a show about it.
So I think you just got to be careful. You got to just, I used to be more open to not having experience, because I remember I thought I was a great agent when I didn't have experience. There are really good agents that just don't have experience, and I like creating that opportunity. But yeah, again, I think personality is a big one.
I don't have a team.
I mean, for me, oh, go ahead, Jason.
No, I just have my children. 2 of my children work with me. They now are encouraging me to start a team, but I don't have patience either. And I don't think I'm a very good teacher because I don't have patience.
The question is what we're looking for, correct? Okay. Sorry, lost track. For me, it's charisma, first and foremost. Being on brand, There's always a natural chemistry that flows between whoever I'm sitting down with and whether or not I think they could be a fit for my team. And believe me, I've been wrong. But that said, work ethic is number 2. I want to know what you were doing before you came to me. I want to know that you wake up before me and you go home after me. Anyone that thinks they can roll out of bed at 11 and come into the office 3 days a week and they're going to be successful on my team has got it very wrong. And if you have those 3 things, then it warrants a second meeting.
Yeah, I think I was counting the other day. I've had 22 people since when I started, when I was like, I want to have a team. And in the beginning, I had certain gut instincts about who I thought would be a great partner. And I learned over time, and now I've learned with the current group specifically, really what that agent avatar looks like, the best fit, because I cannot tell you how many people have DM'd me or reached out to me and said like, I'm gonna work the hardest, and then just didn't. And so for me, I love someone who's local. That's why I always tell people that I'm like, have you done 4 transactions at least in the last 12 months in my market? Because it can be a long runway. And they have to have a good attitude. That's really important to me. I don't need someone who's gonna be like complaining over at the water cooler. I want someone to be like geeking out on new stuff and seeing opportunity. And lastly, I want someone who's got a strong why. I want someone who's got like purpose every day. If I say like, why are you doing this? I want there to be a very clear reason. Bonus, there's a negative consequence to that not happening. That really gets people out of bed every day and uncomfortable. And to get over the hump, I'm confident, as many of you or some of you asked, like, when did you feel like that happened? I'm sure they got uncomfortable. I'm sure they got very uncomfortable at some point, and the opportunity is certainly on the other side of the discomfort. Did you say you wanted to add something?
No, I'm just going to say, here's the thing about a team. You know, I'll go on a listing appointment oftentimes, and the owner of the house will say to me, well, am I going to get you or am I going to get somebody else? And I say, quite frankly, that's offensive to me. You're paying me a ton of money. Of course you're going to get me. You're not going to get some, I'm not passing this off to some, lackey that just, graduated from USC and got their license. It's just not going to happen. And so the fear I've always had of having a team per se or whatnot is that I would get to a point where I would just, what? It's true. I would never want to have that or run it where I'm running an enterprise where, you meet me, we go on a listing appointment, we shake hands, and you never see me again, and I assign it to a junior agent. I don't think that's fair. That's just, how I run my business.
This is why he doesn't have a team.
Anyone else have, maybe we'll do 2 more and wrap? Sure, there you go, there's one.
Ask you guys questions, but we'll go ahead again. Tracy, you said we need to be ahead of the curve, and we were talking about AI specifically. What do you think the new skill, soft skill, or hard skill is that agents need to master to stay ahead of the curve?
Ask at Annie Cataldi, my marketing manager. Listen, that's not my forte. My forte is being out in the field, meeting people. I have a team in place that handles all of the AI stuff and being on the forefront of what's coming next, and it's their job to like sit me down and tell me what's next. All I know is I make sure that they're at the forefront of it, because I'm not gonna sit in front of a computer all day and figure out how to do the AI piece. That's not my skill set. My skill set is meeting people and getting listings.
Anyone else want to add in on soft skills? I think we're certainly, with the word skills, in a skills-based business now more than ever. We have to have added buyer-broker conversations and tell people how to bring their interest rates down. I think the words you use and the way with which you communicate is the most important soft skill anyone can have right now. Our job's gotten so much harder. Even for everyone up here, the job is harder. And so those that are master communicators are rising. And it's pretty undeniable, you can see it. You can see it. I think hi. What is your question?
Hi, I'm Maria. I just have a random question. When you retire, what will you be doing and where will you be living? I want to know. I want to be nosy.
There it is, Justin. That's me. It's a good swing.
I'll go.
Yeah, where are you headed?
I am either in St. Bart's in a caftan, like bartending at Shalona, or in Saint-Tropez.
Wait, you're the bartender?
And I give absolutely no fucks about any
You're the
of it.
bartender?
Oh yeah, I'm like just for fun, you know.
Yeah,
It's
because
like,
you have to work. You
it's
need
like Tom
purpose.
Cruise did it. Yeah, I just have to do something. But there's a caftan for sure, and it's like a bikini, and the hair isn't done, and it's a hot mess, and I can't wait.
So this is very funny because I was asked this on a panel before, and I don't know if you remember my answer. No, I don't. I am never, you were with me too. I am never retiring. I love this business. Whether it's a good day or a bad day, I love this business. So although I want to work less and be with Tracy and Saint-Tropez, I still want to work. I want to be working and bartending.
Jason, where are you headed?
I mean, I think I'm a mix of you two because I don't think I'm ever going to fully retire. I think that the goal is to slow down and really cherry pick clients, cherry pick listings, but I still want to be engaged with my agents. I still want to have purpose in my life, which I get tremendously from this industry. I also I also love what I do. I mean, this is the best job in the world, hands down. But at the same time, I also want to be ordering a drink from Tracy.
In a way, you're retired.
I've been retired since the second year I entered the business. No, the reality is this. I resent people that work, and they don't enjoy it. My grandfather said to me one time, you don't have to die the richest man in the cemetery, and I never forgot that. You have to enjoy it. It's a job, and I love what I do, and I will never retire, but I don't take myself so seriously that sometimes like Josh Altman will say to me, how do you go to Europe for a month in the summer? I'm like, you can afford it. You can do it too. Well, I can't because I have to do this and I have to do that. I'm like, bro, enjoy your life, right? Like, you only have one life, and this is like, you have to have a good time.
And the transcription. So guys, thank you so much for attending the panel. Thank you, of course, to Josh Flagg, Tracy Tutor, Jade Mills, the legend. I'm going to join in on the legend status. And my good friend and pal, Jason Oppenheim. Guys, thank you so much. This was really good. Thanks.